things for God. Got rid of all the old people that were in captivity to the slave mentality they had from Egypt. These are the people that told Moses, better we go back and die in Egypt than die here in the wilderness. When Romans 4, and God had to over and over again with the leadership of Moses, so God would provide, God would provide, God provide. They complained to Moses, you brought us here, how are we gonna, we're gonna die of dehydration, we have no water. And God told Moses, go hit the rock. Actually, God told Moses to speak to that rock. But Moses had more faith in his cane. The reason why God was trying to teach man the power of your word. You see, so Moses hit the rock, and the rock broke open, and water became
from a rock.
From a rock. That rock you can still find. It's still there, and it's cracked right down the middle.
What rock?
In where the land in Israel and Asia Minor, where the Jews went through by Mount Ararat, and I think it's Ararat, I'm not sure, but that's pretty the analogy.
But then, so wait a minute. So eating the same food all the time.
So God would provide for them manna from heaven, which they would harvest in the morning, and it was created with the water and had because the dew in the morning would condensate, and this would be their food. But after 10 or 15 years or however long eating that food, they wanted something else. So they complained to Moses. Moses took his petition to God, and God provided fowl. The birds of the air would actually fall down and let the people eat that. So Yeah, so now they're eating
meat and bread.
Exactly, meat. Now God had to show to the Jews that God could be a provider to the full 40 years while the old generation died off. So you had a whole new young generation trained and learn how to walk with God, trusting with God, walking in the cool of day under a cloud. Wherever the Jews went, the cloud covered them to keep them cool.
Really?
Yes, a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Then to keep the people warm, a pillar of fire would come down from heaven right over the Ark of the Covenant, and all the people would sit around. They would camp around the fire to keep them warm.
They didn't make a movie about that part yet.
No, it's all there in the Bible.
I know it's in the Bible.
A pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day.
For
so
sure.
Wherever they roamed throughout the 40 years, a cloud made sure they were covered to give them shade.
Yeah.
And then at the nighttime when it was cold in the middle of the desert, God provided a pillar of fire. So after 40 years, and then manna and fowl, now, they're getting provision. They're learning how to walk and trust with God. That God will keep them cool in the day and keep them warm by night. They have to learn to change. You learn by rote after 40 years of walking in this glory. Only then that generation was ready under Joshua to cross over to the River Jordan and take the land of milk and honey, which God promised to his forefathers. So now that they're trained, they have the mentality. Now they were ready to cross over to the River Jordan and take over the land from the Amalekites, Hittites, and the Philistines. But you have to understand, who were the Amalekites, Hittites, Philistines, and all these? These were the off-bred. These were the children of the fallen angels, the generation of the fallen angels. These were the children, the Nephilim, because God wanted to corrupt the seed of man.
God wanted to get rid of the corrupted seed of man.
The angels of heaven wanted to corrupt the seed of man.
The fallen
angels are the angels that fell. From the war in the heavens, which is actually in the book of Enoch. When the angels fell, these angels, which you can be considered, these fallen angels would be considered demons, or they're the ones that corrupted the seed of man by cohabitating with the creation of woman and having their offspring and their children. These children became the giants of the land. They were known as Goliath. These are a line of, these were transmutated DNA, not of Adam and Eve, but these were from the Nephilim.
Amazing.
They became the Nephilim because these were the children of the fallen angels. The generational lines came from there. And God wanted to eliminate. That's why he kept the Jews separate. That's why he had to be separate. That's why the cutting of the skin was a symbol of being separated, that you're set aside. As Christians, we've cut our flesh away to be separated. Because now it's an adoption program. The gift of salvation is really an adoption program. So we as Christians are reconciled to a holy and righteous God that the Jews had covenant with. Now through faith in Christ Jesus, we have covenant heirship. So what God did was really miraculous. He opened to all mankind the covenant heirship that only the Jews had. That's the difference.
And all this came from Lumpia.
No,
we started talking about
I was just talking about how through all the different generations. So, God over the years, I guess he said, food's going to be a big thing for his creation of man. And I know they don't like just manna and fowl, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create all the different cultures to have different styles of food. So that's how we got on this whole subject in the first place. Because as being part Filipino, I love lumpia. And to think the world would be worth living without lumpia.
So do I have to make it again?
No. Or sushi or all the different cuisines. So not only did God take us just from fowl and manna, he opened up a whole a whole array, a buffet of different types of foods and stuff. And you're eating Greek food, Greek salad. That was good too.
Yeah.
And then what you made, everything. All the different types of flavors and food that God's provided for us as human beings to enjoy. And it's all a foreshadowing of what I can imagine when we get to heaven and we sit at the big luau in heaven, the feast. Imagine what it's going to be. It's going to be all different flavors and everything you can imagine.
Yeah. Go make your coffee, Mother.